Hello, everyone, and welcome to the SIP. I am your host, Jodi Hall, the CEO and the president of the Mortgage Collaborative. Much like catching up over coffee or an adult beverage, the SIP is about connection. We bring lender members and partners together to exchange ideas and solve industry challenges. It's a space for collaboration. It showcases real world case studies that highlight the power of working together. Collaboration fuels progress. So pour a cup, settle in, and elevate the industry together. I'm really bad at this and that we called it the sip because I never have anything that I'm sipping out of a mug or what I feel like today maybe should be a bourbon glass or a martini glass. But thank you for all who have taken a break in your very busy day to join us. Today's episode is proudly sponsored by CCIG, one of the leading insurance brokerages in the US. They specialize in property and casualty, risk management, surety, employment health benefits, and wealth management. Joining us from CCIG are Rich Hejny and Taylor Rogers. Both are EVPs and partners, and they've so graciously invited Kim McKee, the Chief Human Resource Officer at Mortgage Solutions Financials, to share their valuable insights today. Welcome.
Hello.
Thanks so
Hello,
much, Jodi.
everybody.
So
Always
that
good to
was
be
a
with the TMC family.
That is awesome. So behind the scenes, just so everyone knows, many of you know Amy Bohr, and she's taking some well-deserved time off. So we were rushing at the last minute to get in here and to get started. So if we seem a little rushed and flustered, we'll take a deep breath and we'll calm this down as we get into conversation. So, Rich, CCIG has been a long-standing partner of TMC in providing health insurance solutions to our lender members. Can you talk us through all the services that CCIG offers?
Yeah, absolutely. So CCIG, we started in the property and casualty space, but our expertise is in all areas of risk management. That ranges from personal lines for individuals and high net worth individuals, the commercial or the property and casualty insurance. That can be your buildings, your vehicles. It could be assets, property. It could be cyber. D&O, which is for directors and officers as well, as long as and work comp. And then Taylor and myself, we focus heavily on the benefit side. That's where our passion and our expertise lies. We just strongly believe that if we help companies with the procurement process of benefits, which generally leads towards a bias of self-funding or partially self-funded, then it tends to work out for itself and they make smarter decisions. It helps employees get a better program and become healthier and more financially stable as well.
And then Taylor, Rich hit on it briefly about being on the health benefit side for both of you. But can you explain what specifically the services are that you provide to TMC members?
Yeah, so I would say at its core, the health insurance business is extremely opaque. It can be very frustrating. There's conflicts of interest everywhere. So our primary and most important job is just to be a trusted kind of consigliere for the clients that we work with. And there's a level of customization to our process that's really just rooted in transparency and empathy. Not every company has the same needs. Not every company has the same budget. Not everybody has the same resources to be able to recruit and retain employees. And so kind of our first step is to empathize, to walk a mile in your shoes and say, hey, if I were in your position with your geography, your demographics, your risk profile and your objectives, here's what we would create to kind of meet those objectives. And I would tell you, Kim has a wealth of experience that we'll go into here in just a minute. But I think our ultimate landing place was not necessarily where we thought it would be out of the gate, because once we evaluated all of the constraints of the process, it ended up looking a little bit differently. And we talk a lot about health insurance. I do want to elaborate a little bit to say that this is not just for health insurance. You have life, disability, dental, vision, all of those things. And don't be so quick to think that that's all as it should be either. I mean, there's a famous duck out there on TV that should probably spend some time in jail, or at least on probation. So we manage all of those things that fall into that program.
And I often, just because of the space that I came out of and how I met you originally as being a lender, I often think of you providing solutions just for lenders, but you also could help with benefits with our preferred partners, our vendor partners of the TMC, correct?
Yeah, 100%. Now, I will tell you just in all candor, there are a lot of things that open up for us that we can do to help companies once they have about probably 50 or 60 employees enrolled on the health plan. But I actually got a call from a TMC member just last week with 15 people, and he said, "Hey, I just want to know what we should do in this situation." And I spent, a couple hours going back and forth, walking them through exactly what I would do. And that road doesn't lead to working with us. But I think that's hopefully what TMC members who have spoken with us feel, is that we don't really, it doesn't have to end in a business relationship. We just want to be here as a trusted, guide for you.
Yeah, no, thank you for that and explaining that. And Kim, we're really thrilled to have you here. So tell us a bit about yourself, about Mortgage Solutions Financial, who you are, and the business that you do.
Sure, happy to. So I'm going to start with myself and just talk a little bit about my family because that's what's most important to me. So I have two adult kiddos. My son Matthew just gave me my first granddaughter Sloan last October, and my daughter Haley is expecting a little girl this October. So I'm really excited about that. I have two bonus kiddos, Ian and Anthony, that Ian is 21 and doing his thing, and then Anthony is 14 and he is a wrestler, and so he just actually qualified for nationals in Fargo. So we're really excited about that. My
So
career.
wait, I have to say
Oh,
Happy Mother's Day
oh,
to
thank
you.
you.
So that was like your first Mother's Day as a grandmother.
Yes,
Does it different?
it is different because it's actually kind of humbling to watch your kids become parents, and um, yeah, it's just a beautiful experience. So I've been really enjoying it.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Awesome.
And I look forward to babysitting Sloan on Saturday. So there you go. Um, my career, I've been in finance and HR my entire career. This is actually only the third company I've worked for. I spent 10 years in the restaurant industry for a family-owned company, and I was their HR and payroll manager. And then I spent 20 years with the city of Colorado Springs, and I started there on their finance team. And then they asked me to move over to human resources and help them with their comp benefits pension plans, of which they had 9, and HRIS. So I learned just an incredible amount there, and it's really helped me in moving back into the private sector as well. So it's been exciting. I joined Mortgage Solutions Financial last year. They are a huge partner in the community, and that's how I got to know them. And so it's been a really amazing experience so far. Mortgage Solutions Financial is a family-owned and run company, and they just celebrated their 30th anniversary. So that was really exciting. And our lending volume is around 2 billion, and we're reaching for 3 billion this year. We do lend in 46 states, and we primarily are a government lender. 70% of our loans are VA, and about 70% of our business is manually underwritten, and we serve the underserved, those loans that are really hard for first-time homebuyers and other people to get. MSF has been a member of the collaborative for about 5 years, and we have found it to be a really valuable resource for us. And my partner Jesse is on the phone or on the call too, and so he's a big proponent of the collaborative as well.
And wishing everyone happy Taco Tuesday
Yes,
as
I
well.
saw.
So margaritas with your tacos for your afternoon break. So awesome. I want to explore how the solutions that CCIG offers are making an impact. Kim, CCIG's offerings, like what do they do to help and partner with Mortgage Solution Financial, and how do you take advantage of those offerings?
So CCIG is our benefits consultant. Taylor and Rich have been instrumental in since I started here with helping us get started on our our journey to self-funding. And so currently they're helping us with medical, dental, vision, life insurance, disability, like short-term disability, long-term disability, including paid family medical leave. And we're currently implementing leave management with them also, because we're in so many states. Those state leave laws are really complicated, and so that's going to be a huge step forward for us. And then if you haven't checked out our website yet, on our careers page, they've built a beautiful benefits portfolio for us. So when employees are looking to start their career with Mortgage Solutions Financial, there's a whole electronic website dedicated to informing our candidates about what kind of benefits we have to offer. So they've been just extremely helpful.
That's awesome. So I want to point out to the audience that you said leave management, not lead management, because we in the mortgage industry always care about our marketing and leads. But it sounds like you've taken leave management into lead management in attracting talent and using the platform that they've helped you build to help with recruiting. So that's awesome to hear. Taylor, health plans are notoriously complex. They're shaped by factors such as company size, which we talked about, geography, and evolving regulation. How does CCIG tackle these challenges to create a sustainable solution for their members?
Yeah, so you hit on one really important piece there at the end, which is the evolving landscape. I think the one thing we can predict in our world is that things are going to change. What I'm talking about today is not necessarily what we were talking about 24 months ago, and that cycle tends to repeat itself. So a big pillar of what we do is getting access to data. That's when we talk about self-funding your benefits, that's a whole other side road. But what's critical there is it gives the plan sponsor, or in your case, the employer, access to the data to make informed decisions. And when you're managing a 3, 4, 5, $10 million benefits budget, it's extremely important that you know where those dollars are going and where maybe you can identify waste and abuse and things of that nature. So it kind of starts there. And then we have to put our clients on really flexible chassis, where as the laws and regulations and just social norms and all that sort of thing, as they continue to evolve, you as a company don't have to uproot your entire portfolio and put in something new. You can make very quick iterative changes year over year. And so that's kind of our core philosophy, is really just making sure that our contracts have flexible terms, so that if we get caught in a group, I'll give you a very specific example. We've had companies that have used a certain pharmacy benefit manager that gets acquired, or a certain third-party administrator that gets acquired. Well, a lot of times when that happens, new ownership comes in, and the product that you fell in love with on the front end has now gone completely south on you. Well, if you don't have a flexible contract that allows you to terminate that and put in another provider, you can lock yourself into a really bad relationship. So it's really the flexibility, not only in terms of the vendors you choose and the structure you choose, but also the actual contracts themselves. And then just making sure that you've got eyes on the data. The clients that we have, particularly in the self-funded world, they get every single month, they get an accounting of it, where every dollar in their program went, categories of services, where we're seeing trends and things to keep an eye on. So hopefully that kind of answers the question. But that's really our basis.
For sure. We were talking in the past few weeks in general about what we would be able to do to help support our smaller and mid-sized lenders. And we talked about some of the complexities and having looked at this in the past. And you suggested that every company needs a C-suite role dedicated to managing their health plans. What is the reason behind that, and why that recommendation?
So I actually stole that from Mark Cuban. Mark Cuban wrote an article in D Magazine last month saying basically every company needs a C-suite role, a chief health plan officer. And I push back on every company, because I think that's a little overkill for a lot of organizations to earmark one individual just for that function. But I think what it does highlight is how critical that role and responsibility is. And I do think that companies need someone that is internally committed to learning how all of this works. They're willing to dedicate a percentage of their time to this particular function because it is that important. And it's not just that you're spending several $1,000,000 on it in most cases, it's the variance of how badly you can get ripped off. I mean, it's huge. So one company can save 40% over another company by just being a little different in the way that they purchase benefits. And so I think it's just critical to have that. And I will tell you, having someone like Kim at Mortgage Solutions is like the dream. Somebody who's managed a $50+ million self-funded budget for the city of Colorado Springs, who knows and understands all of these things. We don't have to teach her all of that. Now we're happy to teach. We love to teach, but it helps us be quicker and more agile when she comes from such a depth of knowledge and understanding. And so I think it is a model that companies should absolutely emulate, whether it's your CFO, your CHRO, your head of FP&A, somebody that's willing to invest and dig in into learning all of this subject matter.
I can firsthand attest to the service that you and Rich provide, having been in the past worked for many months to take a lender to self-insuring and not knowing anything about health plans, definitely behind the 8 ball compared to Kim in that, and your willingness to educate and support through those decisions was unbelievable. And I think that's a key point for those out there who are constantly complaining about what the rising healthcare costs and needing to make a change, is knowing that you have to partner with someone who's willing to invest in you and your organization and work as an extension of that company. And Rich and Taylor have done that for me in the past, and do it for many companies. I know that it isn't unique to us. So Kim, I understand the weight and the burden of making those decisions for thousands of employees, and really taking to heart that you need to make the right decision. And you do have a wealth of experience, having managed a $54 million health plan before MSF. Can you share your journey and how you recognize the need at your current location to be able to say, hey, I need to make a change, and knowing where to start with making that change?
Yeah, so we are definitely still on the journey, but CCIG was the first step in the right direction for MSF. When I started, and the need for change really was right before I started, MSF had gone through a renewal and was given a 40% increase on a fully insured plan, and then had to cut benefits to their employees accordingly because it just really wasn't affordable. So where I started was I took the time to meet with the current broker that we had and the president to understand what had been happening, why they had made the decision so far. And the president felt like he didn't really have a choice. There weren't any options, and their current broker was just telling them that he had to spend more to get more. And so there was an adversarial relationship almost between the company and the broker. And so, number one, the broker relationship is key. So if you have someone that knows benefits, like I do, but I didn't really know the mortgage industry, I needed a broker who could bridge that gap for me. And so as I reached out to CCIG and or I reached out to the TMC actually to find CCIG. And I think that one of the things I learned from public sector is that they're required to go out for RFP on their benefits, and actually all their vendors, every 5 years. And so you get really good at evaluating potential vendors and looking at costs and what they're going to bring to the table. And so you just are really required to do your due diligence and pick vendors that are experts in the space that you're trying to find them in. And so I had worked with, giants in the broker business like Mercer, Gallagher, Siegel, all of those. And when I met with CCIG the first time, I just knew that they knew what they were talking about and could help me get from where we were to where I needed to take MSF to. And so I would just say that you need to know what you're paying for and why you're paying for it. And then also you need to know what your competition is doing. So benchmarking is really key. You don't have to tell the story so much if you have benchmark information that can help tell the story about where you need to be. And MSF really wasn't unique. They were experiencing the same thing that everyone else is with high RX costs and high claims costs. And you just have to know what your plan is to actively fix that. You can't just be a victim to it. And so I just knew I had to dig in and help them understand where the cost, what was driving the costs and how to get them out of it. So
Extremely valuable asset to your organization and being able to help them through that. A lot of people, they don't know where to start, so they do nothing, and it just keeps mounting and the problem never goes away. So Rich, you've been in the space forever, and I agree. It's like your knowledge of the mortgage space specifically and understanding, the recruiting of loan officers and the recruiting of top talent in operations. And, Kim's story, we all know, is not unique to the industry and across other industries. So what would you say is your greatest success story in being involved with CCIG?
Well, we have so many of them, Jody. It's really hard to pinpoint one. I think about some of the lenders we've worked with. We've helped another lender transition from a fully insured to a self-funded program, and they saved $1 million in a year. And the way that it was presented to us, what that meant as a business impact to them at the time is, true net profit for them I mean, this is 2020, 2021 was about 50 basis points. And the CEO had said, hey, this is about $200 million worth of loan volume that we did not have to generate to save this $1 million. And so I think that was a huge success story. I also think what we, working with Kim, and while we might not be at the end target today for MSF, what we've been able to accomplish in a short amount of time has been just incredible. Just to give you an idea of what that looks like, when we took over the program, I think one of the biggest shocks to Kim, coming from her background of having all that data and insight and then being able to have the control to do something about it, was we got high level claims information. So we got how much premium they paid, how much claims went out the door from the insurance company, and a little bit broken out by, medical versus pharmacy, but we couldn't do anything about it. And so the first step we had to do was we had to move them into a level funded program, which would give us greater insight into where those dollars are actually going in specific medications, de-identified, protecting the employer themselves from knowing who's taking those drugs. But is there a better way to source those? Is there programs that we can put in to help with diabetes, heart disease, cancers, that sort of thing from the wellness perspective? But so we moved them to a level funded program. We were able to get them about 16% under what they were previously paying on, with their prior carrier. So that was a huge savings. It was about $500,000 worth of savings. But what that allowed us to do was to really revamp their medical plan, because the structure was just really convoluted. Employees didn't understand what they were buying. And so it allowed us to redesign the plans themselves and drive the education home of, hey, here's what you're paying for and here's how you use the programs. And that all led to about a 20% increased enrollment on the employee only side, which was one of the big goals that they wanted to achieve. Was we got to take care of our employees first and foremost, and we've got to make it more affordable. And so I think it was a really big, huge PR win for Kim, their leadership team, especially as they're going out recruiting people as well.
Yeah, absolutely. That's huge. So besides helping lenders set themselves apart from the competition in recruiting, Taylor, what sets CCIG apart from its competitors?
I think what you will hear from us is very similar to what most of the TMC members share about their own companies in the marketplace. Why would you work with an IMB as opposed to one of the big shop lenders and all that sort of thing? And the truth of the matter is it's a very similar value prop. We've got the alphabet shops, some of which Kim mentioned earlier that are big multi-billion dollar, mostly publicly traded and or private equity backed aggregators or large shops. And then you've got your small mom and pops in the community. And we sit right between those two where we're a decent sized firm, that's got a good footprint. We're certainly not at any threat of going out of business or, somebody retiring and putting the whole thing, underwater. But at the same time, we get to make a lot of unilateral decisions as partners of the firm. We have a lot of influence over the products and the services that are being delivered to our clients, as opposed to having all of that dictated to us by which carriers are paying us the most in, revenue and overrides and all that sort of thing. So just a little bit about my personal background. I've been with all three. I was with a big national firm. Rich and I started a shop, and there's a reason that we merged our shop into CCIG, because we wanted those resources, we wanted the infrastructure, but we still wanted the autonomy to do what's right for clients. And so I think that's kind of where you find CCIG, and kind of where we fit into the market.
Yeah, and I don't know if it's in your core values, but I talk about servant leadership a lot and being able to have an impact on the industry as a whole. And you don't talk about it, but that truly is, you're giving back to the greater good and that shows in the work that you do without having to state that. So I think it means a lot. It's meant a lot to me as a client before, and means a lot to me as you go out and provide membership or benefits to the TMC partners. Kim, do you have any final words of wisdom for lenders navigating the complexity of health plans that you would like to share?
Yeah, thank you for asking. I think that one thing that I was thinking about is just with your leadership in your companies is to really listen to them and figure out what they're trying to accomplish, because um with the mortgage industry specifically and the demographics in our employee base, we have everything from customer service agents who are doing servicing to loan officers who are making a lot of money. And so you have to be a really good partner to the business. And it's not just about being an employee advocate, it's about how benefits plays into the strategy of the business itself. And then making sure that you're informing and educating all the key stakeholders, sales, finance, legal, so that they can help you move the benefits program in a direction that, really serves the whole company. And then I would just say stay curious and act. So getting data and reports and self-funding. I It was shocking, Rich. I was just like, where are the reports? How come I can't see anything? How am I supposed to make changes to the health plan if I don't even know where the spend is? Like, do I need to focus on pharmacy? Do I need to focus on uh, you know, bone and joint, or I don't even know what. So yeah, getting reports is key. So just staying curious and then using the information to act. So making decisions to move the plan in the direction that you need it to go. With CCIG, I think that one of the things that I try to be is very transparent with them, and I tell them everything I know about the decision makers, what they're thinking, what their thoughts and opinions are, what goals, what's important to them, so that they can be the best partner to me in moving the benefit strategy in the direction that we need to go. And then with CCIG and any vendor, really just being really proactive in your communication and being responsive. So we always expect our vendors to be responsive, but we need to be responsive too. And it's amazing if you have a true partner and a vendor, what they can do for you and what they're willing to do for you. So that's just some really good advice, is just really think of your vendors as extensions of your business. And when you have a partner like CCIG by your side, that really understands what you're going through and what you need to do, it's just invaluable. So
That is great insight, Kim, and all of it has been a very insightful conversation, and we truly appreciate the knowledge that you all shared today. Thank you to CCIG for sponsoring this episode, and to Rich, Taylor, and Kim for your valued insight. And to our listeners, thank you for joining us and being a part of the collaborative conversation. You can find us here next week It's every Tuesday at 2 p.m. Eastern Time if you are a member of the TMC family. And then we are streamed live at 3 p.m. Eastern for the rest of the industry. Thank you, everyone, for taking the time to join us. Whatever you're tuning in for fresh insights, industry connection, or just great conversation, we appreciate you bringing a part to our community. Your engagement and collaboration make all the difference, and we're excited to continue sharing and elevating the industry together. So for today, cheers.
Thanks so much.
Thank you.
Bye, y'all.